I guess it's okay for them and their campaigns. It's not so good for you and I, the voters, because I don't know that we really learned that much. I think that a lot of the information that we're receiving is shoot from the hip kind of information. And if I were producing the debates, here is the format that I would use. I uh, I was a high school debater 50 years ago. Excuse me, I get all choked up when I think about how many years ago I was debating. And I was a very decent high school debater. I could take both sides of an issue. I probably won 85% of the debates that I was in, maybe higher. But we had a structured format for the debate, and we actually knew ahead of time, at least a week ahead of time, what the debate topic was going to be on Saturdays. We attended events, on competitive events on Saturdays where my high school competed against other high schools. And the fact that we had a very structured uh, way of debating, it made for a much more interesting um, contest period, where one side obviously took the affirmative side of the argument, and the other side took the negative side of the argument, and then you uh, brought forward the best information you possibly could to uh, substantiate whatever your position was. So here's what my proposal would be for future presidential debates so that you and I can get better information and be able to choose intelligently uh, who we think would make the better leader of our country. So in the future, here's what I would propose: that the party that is not in power, in this case, the Republican Party, would present whatever it is they want to debate. And uh, the incumbent party, in this case, the Democratic Party, would have a week to prepare their arguments, just like the Republican Party would have a week to prepare theirs. And to me, that kind of approach makes much more sense because the party trying to gain control, in this case the Republicans, they want to throw as many issues out there as they possibly can that they think change needs to be made. And I don't even know how many different topics they discussed in the I guess close to 2 hours that they debated. But it really wasn't a debate. It was who did a better job of one-upsmanship. So the Republicans in this case would say, okay, I want to talk about new job creation. That's the issue. We don't think the current administration has done a good job in job creation, and here's the reasons why. So it then would become the objective of the current administration, the party in power, the incumbent, to answer the claims that the opposition was presenting, and in effect say, well, here's what you're presenting, here's what we've been doing for the last 4 years, here's the progress. Here's where we are today after trying to change things for 4 years. Here's where we are today. Here's what our plan is for tomorrow, so to speak, or the next 4 years. Let the opposition party present the issues. They do it anyway. Why not do it in a structured manner? And so we might have 3, 4, or 5 debates with a single topic of discussion. That way, you and I, as the voters, could make an intelligent decision as to, yes, the current administration did a good job. No, they didn't. Here's why they didn't. Do we believe that they can make the changes necessary to do a better job? That's kind of the thought process. Tell me what you think about that idea. I don't know that it's ever going to go in place because the media, the television stations, the advertisers who are supporting the event or whatever, they want as much controversy. They want to slug it out. They want good TV. They want viewership, and they're getting the viewership. They're getting the viewership, but I think it would be a better experience and a better use of our time, yours and mine, if we really were able to see a good planned discussion of what has been done, where are we today, what's going to be done tomorrow. Then the opposition would have a chance to give a rebuttal position where they feel that here's where the current administration failed, here's what we plan to do for the next 4 years. I like that approach. And it's certainly, I don't know, while it made a lot of sense 50 years ago, I don't think it's changed much because it's very, very basic. And you know, kind of when we go into a courtroom and we're trying to convict a criminal in a courtroom, the evidence is presented, and it's up to the defense to negate whatever the prosecution has presented in the way of arguments, and then the jury makes the final decision, or in some cases, a judge will make the final decision if there's not a jury involved. If both sides agree that they don't want a jury, they'd rather have a judge make the final decision. And that way, that moderator would then become the judge. Or they could have a panel of judges. They could have a panel of judges. And each side could have a judge. There could be a, quote, Republican judge, quote, a Democratic judge. And then each of those judges, they would agree to a third judge of both of their acceptance. I would see an approach like that much more valuable. Let me know what you think about it. Okay, as I was kind of listening to what other people thought about the debates because I wasn't watching them myself. Oh, and let me make it very clear. And you've heard me say this before, but I'm going to make my position very clear. I don't care what the political party is. I, bottom line, am concerned what is best for small business. What is the best environment so that new jobs can be created, that you and I can create new jobs by the businesses that we start? How do we make our economy, our society more open, more acceptable to those things? And the other thing that people seem to forget, and then we'll move on to this optimization. The other thing that people seem to forget is that the person that we elect as president of our country, they're the leader. They're the spokesperson. Indeed, they have a great amount of power. They are the commander-in-chief of our armed forces. So they make final military decisions. That, as we know, is a very, very powerful position. But they can only propose, well, a president can propose legislation uh, with the support of their party, without the support of their party, whatever is so dictated. And that doesn't mean that that's going to become what actually happens in how you and I live our lives, because it takes the Congress, it takes two houses of Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate, to pass legislation. They are the ones that have the real power in terms of policy, in terms of execution of that policy. The party in power in the House of Representatives, they have the Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House has a great deal of power in determining how discussion, how debates are going to be handled on the floor of the House. So much power is actually occurs in the committee rooms. If you are a chairman of one of the committees in Congress, you have a tremendous amount of power on the affairs of that committee and the outcome of that committee and how legislation is being presented on the floor of the House or the floor of the Senate. So I get further and further away from the politics of things as I get older. When I was 6 years old, my father ran for political office in the community where I lived, in Canton, Ohio. And there were 11, what did they call them, districts, precincts. They called them precincts. There were 11 precincts in the community where I lived, and my father was running for city council from the precinct where we live. And as a 6-year-old, I actually went door to door passing out a card. I went to every single door in our precinct and asked the person that answered the door, would you vote for my father? I gave them a card. My father lost that election. Big time he lost that election. He was beaten 2-1. The other candidate got twice as many votes as he did. And then a couple years later, my father ran for the Board of Education in our community. At that time, they were elected positions, and some folks came and asked him to run for the Board of Education. He would have been the youngest member of the Board of Education, and in fact, the two individuals that he ran against, between the two of them, they had, I don't know, 50 or 60 years of experience. So my father represented new thinking in our community, and he was once again beaten very soundly. So I kind of grew up in a political household, but as I got older, I was even a political science major in college. What a wasted 4 years of college. Thank goodness, college. I went through 5 years of college with 2 degrees. Actually paid for most of my college education from working, and I think one summer in fall I made $5,000 in 1968, and that was enough money to carry me through 5 years of college, $5,000, and buy my very first car when I was a sophomore in college. times certainly have changed. So politics was all around me as I was growing up, and my junior and senior year in college, this country was fighting in the Vietnam War. Very, very committed to that, that conflict. Uh, Actually, wasn't a declared war. And I made a very dumb mistake. I didn't think it was dumb at the time, but it proved in time to be very dumb. Uh, I I graduated college a quarter early. I had all my degree, I had all my credit hours, and I was paying my way through. So I said, why spend another quarter in college if I didn't need to? I had all my credits. Well, 2 weeks after I made that decision, and I actually graduated from college. I think I graduated from college. I never went to my graduation. I do have a diploma someplace. I got a notice that I was to report for duty in our military. I was invited to go to Vietnam and fight. I didn't like that invitation so well. Uh, I wanted to RSVP and say no, thank you, but I'm not interested. I went through the whole process of a physical, and uh, ultimately it was heart issues that we didn't even know that much about my heart back then, but we knew enough that it kept me out of the military. And my blood pressure issues. It was, well, the mistake I made was I graduated college a quarter early. And then it totally shifted my direction in life and where I was going to go. It wasn't too long after that. It was just a year later, a little more than a year. Well, it was a year later. I bought my first business. You heard me say it yesterday. I paid $10,000 for a business back in 1974, and I didn't know what $10,000 paying for a business meant in 1974. Today, I don't know, that $10,000 would be the same as maybe $100,000. I've never really thought about it too much. If there's any economists out there who understand inflation, $10,000 in 1974, what does it mean in 2012 real dollar terms? Okay, let's go through this optimization, and I found it very interesting because even the political candidates are need to have optimized landing pages. I wish I would have known that they were that interested in it. I would have called up the political parties and asked them to have very optimized, very Googleized landing pages in David's barter community so that all of you could get involved in the politics. Uh, what can we learn about landing page optimization from the presidential candidates? The first question that was asked by the folks who did this survey, ION Interactive, ION Interactive, very, very good internet web company, did this study. And how the presidential candidates score on landing page optimization. Here's the report card. There were 5 areas: campaign specific, localization, message match, forms, mobile optimized. Those are the 5 categories that this ION Interactive took a look at the presidency, or the presidential landing page. I'm sorry, there was, I missed 2. Dynamic content and segmentation. 7 different areas that they were evaluated in. And this represents the president. This represents Governor Romney. Campaign specific. Neither one of them got a passing grade in campaign specific landing page. Localization, each of them got a check mark. Message match, the president got a check mark. Uh, Romney did not get a check mark. Forms, a form that you would actually have on the page, the president got a check mark. Romney did not get a check mark. Mobile optimized. This is extremely interesting. Neither one of them got a check mark in mobile optimized landing page. Dynamic content, the second category that both of them got a check mark, and segmentation. Neither one of them got a check mark in segmentation. So if you add up the check marks in the 7 categories, the president got 4 check marks. Governor Romney got 2 check marks. What does that all mean? Well, it only means that there's a lot to be desired in landing page optimization among the candidates. And I found this really surprising, particularly with the president, because there's no question in my mind that it was social media 4 years ago, and the President Obama's, the folks that he put around them and their abilities to take the message to social media was the single most important thing that got the president elected. And he was an unknown presidential candidate at the time. Didn't have a lot of political experience. He was a senator. He had some, I think he had some local Chicago experience, but he mastered social media 4 years ago, and it was extremely important to his election. To that point, I don't know, I haven't kept up with it, but about 3 months ago or 4 months ago, I even read a statistic that the presidential campaign was going to spend $16 million on Facebook alone. $16 million. We have seen how inundated, particularly if you live in a targeted state like I do, Ohio. The president, the campaign had people in Ohio, I think, for an entire week. The president, his wife, the first lady, Michelle was here, and I don't know. Biden must have been here, but you would have thought that the next step from a very outstanding social media campaign 4 years ago would have been superior positioning on each one of those categories as far as landing pages go. So it was interesting. And then, quite honestly, I have not read anything about Governor Romney's campaign in terms of social media, social media spend. I know that there were periods in the last 60 days where his fundraising has doubled the amount of money that the president was raising for all the different ways that they could spend money. It was just very, very interesting. And we'll I guess, go to ioninteractive.com/post-click marketing blog, what we can learn about landing page optimization. If you go to ioninteractive.com and search for landing page optimization, that's what they do for a living. But I'm sure you'll be able to find this. It's interesting. Not that it necessarily means anything, but what can you learn from what they have done in landing page optimization to make your landing page optimization work for you and our community as you build and start your new business?